Hello and welcome back to A Different Life, my YouTube channel on my life living aboard this older 1986 Moody 47. When this boat was built, it was Moody's top boat, their biggest boat. They subsequently built bigger boats before eventually being bought out and taken over by Hansi. I'm going to talk today about the interior of the boat and the 4 years that I put into it in terms of modifications, which I'll illustrate as we go around the boat. The boat's a fantastic boat, an ocean-going boat. It was in a poor state of repair when I bought the boat. I knew that before I bought it. I, prior to retiring, spent about 14 years of my working life fixing boats professionally. I'm a lifelong sailor and I live on this boat year-round in the west of Scotland. Not the best climate for living on a boat, I have to say, so you have to have your wits about you in terms of getting your creature comforts. So, let's talk a little bit about the boat. I've changed lots of things to this boat, ranging from a new engine to all new electronics, fitted a wood stove, which is by my side here, and various other things, and I'll explain these as I go through the boat. Thank you. Oh yes, and if you like what you see, and it is a long video this one, but if you enjoy it, please give me a like and subscribe at the end of the video, or if you so feel, because it really does aid to the growing of the channel, which I'm out to do. So here we are looking down into the main saloon of the boat, and we'll just go down the steps and take it from there. The companionway ladder is quite long and steep, and I fitted these rubber mats just as a non-slip precaution. So, looking around, we have the galley over here, the main saloon with the wood stove. I'll talk about that in a second. Door to the forward bedroom and the front heads. Navigation table, nice big table, which I love. So, getting into detail. The first thing I did when after fitting the wood stove was remove this side of the table because it would have been too close to the stove, and I tend not to have that many people on board. The table itself does have a leaf that folds up and can be held up in this position, offering a full-size or fairly full-size table. Inside the table we have essentially a drinks cabinet, and this part of the boat originally was a U-shaped settee, with this side used to be the same as that side, but I had the upholstery cut and fitted this heat protecting divider and also a ceramic tile base when I fitted the wood stove. The wood stove's been a fabulous addition to the boat, especially in these cold Scottish winters when we get an exceptionally cold spell. Nice little wood stove, not oversized, but good. And down here we have a heater matrix. The boat has a Webasto 5.2 kilowatt diesel heater, and that heats up fluid coolant which circulates round pipes, and one of the places it comes to is this little unit here, which acts as a warm air blower. I can switch on to various fan levels and it blows out warm air. Lots of underfloor storage, this kind of thing. And we have compartments like that all over. Eventually I'll replace the floorboards, but I've really focused on, in the refurbishment process, on the engineering systems and the sailing systems, and refurbished all of them in actual fact. And I did things like I cut this floorboard into two and put these locking latches, and I have the batteries underneath there. Good storage space throughout. Nice that it has these retainers, stop things, books falling out under sail. Plenty of storage in the back here. And when I'm in a marina, I use my little electric heater here. I'm a saxophone player, so I have saxophones everywhere in this boat. As you can see, I've got 3 different saxophones on the flute. When it comes to the nav station, I was particularly pleased with this. During COVID, I completely removed all the old wiring and rebuilt these control panels from scratch. I bought the black sheet of acrylic, I drilled all the holes for these breakers and rewired the whole thing. Put in a new bilge pump control system, and this is what they call a Touch 70 screen, which shows the information from the Serbo GX Mark II, the Victron Serbo GX Mark II, which controls the electrics of the boat. Underneath here we have, again, more storage, and of course a big storage area underneath the nav table. I've put new electrical sockets, rewired the 240 volt system. Lots of storage here, line of cupboards. And I also, when I was doing the rewiring, made a new panel both for the 240 volts. This panel here with a switch that allows me to manually change between inverter and shore power or generator. And of course I rather would have had, I put in a manual system deliberately because I didn't want any possibility of having them both on at the same time. Here's my main engine control panel, in the sense that it provides the power for the engine, gives me a temperature monitor and the fuel gauge. We'll have a look at the engine in a minute. I redid the countertops, put in new taps. This tap comes out, it's great. Lever operated. And of course this is a salt water pump. Plenty of storage space in the kitchen here. Sliding doors. Whoops. Lots of space to keep things. I particularly liked some of the details, like in this cupboard for example, we have these vertical posts which stop the plates from rattling about when you're underway, particularly in heavier weather. Again, plenty of storage space, nice cutlery drawer, good storage underneath the sink. I put lights in these cupboards because I got fed up going off to get a flash lamp in order to see what was happening. And I did also, some of these cupboards are prone to having stagnant air, so I have a little fan involved. I can switch on the fan, silent computer fan, which just causes some air circulation. And of course I put a vent in at the bottom, and air gets drawn in through this vent here behind the blue stuff. What else now? Good storage for my fresh fruit. Grab rails everywhere, which is great. And this part of the boat, I did an extensive piece of work. I basically, from this level back to the door here, I removed the entirety of the woodwork. Took it right back to the fiberglass. It used to be level all the way along here, and the fridge freezer used to be in here. I didn't want a top loading fridge freezer, so I kept all of this woodwork, but put in this bulkhead, the space for the microwave, and put in a, let me just switch a light on here, put in a front loading 12 volt fridge, marine fridge, and a front loading 12 volt freezer. Great things to have on a boat. And when I put it all back together again, I reused the facing wood so that it would look like the boat was built this way. And I'm very pleased with the results of it. 4-burner stove, it's a gimbal mounted stove. New sink. Now I'm in the process of slowly removing all the varnish from the boat with a view to re-varnishing it, because the varnish work is shoddy. So I've already removed some of the varnish from down here and down here. You can see it's and I want to really lighten up the feel of the boat. I don't like the stained varnish that exists at the moment. It makes the boat just a little bit on the dark side, and I don't like that. So when I remove all the stained varnish, I'll put clear varnish on, and it should be much brighter. So that's basically the interior. Again, lots of storage space. You know, these opening hatches are fantastic because it gives access to storage underneath, which is just wonderful. And of course I'm spoiled with a nice office chair here, view from the desk, and you can get a good feel for the boat. So this door behind me here is the door into the main head, the one I use, which has a heated towel rail which runs off the Webasto 5.2 kilowatt hydronic heater. Manual toilet. I don't like electric toilets because they always break down. And again, a new faucet, new tap, new shower unit. Let me just close that door. And I'll show you, I put in a new calorifier and basically ripped out this cupboard. It was such a mess, and redid it all. The main water pumps down there, the calorifier, the header tank for the Webasto, and I fitted the Webasto unit under here, which you may or may not see. Yeah, the light's not very good. This has a little curtain that comes around to protect the facings from the water when I'm having a shower. And there's plenty of storage. These cupboards go quite far back. And I put new mirrors in and details like that, new lights. It's all LED lights throughout the boat, so that's great. I'm very conscious of being almost self-sufficient for the entire summer based on my solar panels and wind generator. I'm very conscious of the energy that I consume, so you know, LED lights which are throughout the boat, both outside exterior lights and nav lights, etc., as well as the interior lights, they're all LED and minimum current drawing. So we'll take a look at the back bedroom now. One thing about this boat is tall people would definitely hit their head on this, the roof to the door, but I'm quite short, so it doesn't really matter to me too much. So the bedroom's a great bedroom, and I'll talk a little bit about it in a minute after I've quickly shown you what's what. So close the door. We have some shelf space up there, 2 hanging locker cupboards here, and I've put all these vents in to aid circulation, and like I did in the kitchen, I'll probably end up installing a little fan in there, these little silent low wattage computer fans, just to circulate air. Very comfortable bed. There's storage underneath the seats here, storage beside each side of the bed. Nice big bed. One of the things when I used to live on my last boat, which was a 36-foot Catalina in California, in actual fact, and I said to myself, before I buy another boat, I want a bed with side access. I want a bathroom with a separate shower area so the whole toilet unit does not get wet every time you have a shower. And I wanted a fridge that I could open from the front, which, as you've seen, I installed. So the varnish work in here was all stained like this door, and I'm in the process of removing all the varnish back to the teak, which is much lighter, and I've still got the doors to do, but I've still got to go over the whole room once more. But it's very successful in lighting up the room and making it just that much brighter. Lots of storage, shelves, drawers here, little ladies jewelry space there, more cupboards here, big mirror, and again space by the bed for storing clothes. I fitted a little USB port here which I can switch on and off at fingertips so that I can charge the phone overnight when I'm sleeping. And I have a great little thing here. It's a small heater. It's 380 watts, I believe, and it's great because it's a low enough wattage that I can run it off the batteries on the boat. I have two large 460 amp hour lithium ion batteries as the house battery, and that gives me lots of power to sustain the dull days we get here in Scotland. But you can see it's a lovely room, big hatch. All the hatches have insect screens and blinds that pull out. I'll just show you. So I can pull out the blind, or I can pull out the insect screen and have them cover the whole window. Everything's nicely finished. This part's a little bit low headroom wise, so it's well padded. And this is another heating matrix, part of the central heating system. So I can have heat in the bedroom as well from the central heating. But you can see it's a major piece of work removing all this varnish, and there'll be a video in the future when I get to the stage of having it complete. The door here goes into the head, so nice easy access for the bathroom. And behind this rear bulkhead is a full depth lazarette accessible only from the deck, and when I do the third part of the boat tour, which will be the deck and the rigging, I'll show that in detail. But it's great atmosphere. Every morning when I have my coffee, I have coffee in bed, and I think to myself how blessed I am to actually live in this boat and have such a beautiful accommodation. So this is the forward bedroom, half bedroom, half workshop, half utility room. This whole cabinetry was, of course, made by me. So right at the forward end of the boat here we have the forward head, and it's got its own little sink. I've actually removed the head from the boat because I'm just going to use this. The head was positioned there. I'm just going to use this room as a shower room, and also there's a curtain here that goes all the way around, so I can bring that all the way around for the shower. I haven't fitted the shower yet, but it's a standard head. Storage space. And from this head we have access to the front lazarette. Now when I first got the boat, this was a full-size step-in lazarette from the hatch up top, that dark area. But I installed the bow thruster, which is a beast of a bow thruster, big bow thruster, proportionally controlled, so that means that you can, instead of just being on or off, you can actually control the power the bow thruster gets, and hence its thrust. So that's the bow thruster, and after fitting that, to leave access for that, I fitted a shelf midway here and sail storage above it. Right in the far corner you'll see the control box for the electronics, well, for the electrics for the windlass, and the windlass is in a separate if you like compartment behind that bulkhead. So that's the forward lazarette. As I say, it was very different when I got the boat. It was a full ladder drop down situation, as well as the other thing I have added to this part of the boat is I have an anchor washdown pump and associated plumbing. And when I've refitted the boat, I've changed all the through hulls to be the True Design through hulls with the collar, the strengthening collar. So all the underwater through hulls throughout the boat are now the True Designs. I had Blake's Seacocks that came with the boat, but they were old. They were showing signs of going pink, which is not a good sign. And I thought to myself, it's time to just replace them all, get rid of any galvanic corrosion potentialities by having the artificial material True Design through hulls. So this is the forward head, cupboard in here, full of stuff right now. Moving back to what I lovingly refer to as my workshop, best modification I've ever made to the boat. So the workshop in the forward bedroom, and the forward bedroom from an accommodation perspective has a full Pullman double berth, and also, which has been an addition made to this boat, the single berth up here in the blue here. There are cupboards which I've added vents to that go in behind the, can't really see that very well, but you can see my new chain plates. I'll go get a light and let you see that. I've changed all the chain plates in the boat, so they're all new chain plates, new backing plates, new nuts, new bolts. One of my favourite additions to the boat, of course, is the washing machine here. It's called a Daewoo Mini, and you can see this thing's just fantastic. Little mini front loading washing machine. Only takes about 40 minutes to do a load. Very straightforward. I can run it off the inverter. It drains into the shower sump in the forward head. And on this side, on port side here, we have a hanging locker. We have this, one of my tool units, which I have permanently mounted. Well, When I say permanently mounted, I've got it bolted down so it's not going anywhere in the wind, but of course it could be removed. My bench, my vise, and another set of drawers for tools, just to give you a feel for all that. And I tend to have a different, this is my electrical drawer, this is my socket drawer, this is my screwdriver drawer, etc. And again, this is bolted to the workbench. When I first got the boat, it didn't have any of this workbench here, and what it has was where I'm putting my foot, along this level, it was another single berth. So I built all of this framework, and I haven't finished it off properly yet, but that'll come in due course. So I built this framework, and now I've got massive storage inside, and it's built solid. It's 2x2 timbers, and it's all bolted to the boat. It could all be removed if required, but I think it's one of the best additions I've ever made to the boat. Underneath this, again, where my foot is, through behind the woodwork there's access, and I can get access from inside those cupboards to a full storage area running the length of this workbench. So that's it, pretty cool, plenty of light, and generally a great little space. So I've removed the cabinetry that covers the front of the engine, as you can see, leaving full access to the front of my brand new Volvo D275 horsepower engine, which I've only had for about 6 months. I did refinish the inside of this piece of cabinetry with new sound insulation, etc. The engine's great, plenty of access, and come round to the main area of access to the engine is through here. You can see the engine itself, again, full access. It was a bit of a job fitting the new exhaust system. I had to custom make the pipework in order to accommodate the bigger size of the new muffler, and I had to fit a brand new enlarged exhaust pipe all the way back to the transom of the boat. Down here is the anti-vibration decoupler. I can't remember the name, it's called an Aqua Drive. And also in this area is all my electrics. You can see my charger over there, my 3000 watt inverter, a couple of solar chargers, solar controllers, my Servo GX, and the battery to battery 12 volt DC charger. I use the way the electrics work in this boat. The engine charges the start batteries, and the battery to battery converter, this guy here, is a 30 amp job. It senses when the batteries are being charged by the engine, and when that happens it charges the house batteries from the engine. And that's the correct way of doing it, isolating the lithium ion batteries from the alternator, and hence avoiding frying the alternator by drawing too much current from it. I fitted lights, it's nice and light as you can see in here. It's an easy area to work on with tons of access. The only thing that's a little bit hard of access is down here, but it's not too bad. And amongst other things, I've revamped the entire steering system in this boat. So all the steering cables are new, as is the quadrant and the main bracket that holds the quadrant guide pulleys to the boat. All of that's been ripped out, much improved and replaced. So we'll have a look at the engine start batteries, all rewired by myself. This is the new configuration. The start battery, which there only was one of before, was in a different location, but I relocated the batteries, added more power to accommodate the bow thruster and the windlass, the bigger windlass that I fitted on a boat, and went to town with the wiring. You know, it's all tin, copper cable, multi-strand wire. I've got a little distribution box in there, and I'm very proud of the electrics on the boat in actual fact.